Welcome to this module on recruitment and selection in consulting. In this session, we will dive into the talent acquisition strategies that consulting firms deploy to attract top talent. We will also explore the rigorous selection process that candidates must navigate to secure an offer from top consulting firms. Now, if we look at the talent acquisition strategies that consulting firms deploy, um, you see, consulting firms, their most valuable asset is talent. The brilliant minds that can crack the most complex problems. So, attracting top talent isn't just a nice to have for these firms, it's essentially a matter of survival. So, how do they do it? How do they attract top talent? There are four key strategies, I think, that they leverage. The first is senior partner involvement. When you walk into a recruiting event, you're not just interacting with, let's say, HR representatives or junior consultants, you're primarily engaging with senior partners. This level of executive involvement in recruitment is rarity in most industries, but it's quite common in consulting. Typically, senior partners would be overseeing the entire recruiting process and will be involved in a lot of individual candidate selection decisions. Second, they make significant investments in recruiting. We are talking about multiple events, both virtual and in person throughout the year. These initiatives provide candidates with opportunities to connect directly with consultants and also gain genuine insights into the work and the culture at the firm. Third is the compensation. Now, let me give you some numbers here. If you join as an analyst straight out of undergrad in the US, let's say, you can expect a total compensation package north of $100,000. And if you come in as a consultant with an MBA, it will be north of $200,000. So these firms recognize the value of talent and they're willing to invest in it. And when I took the example of US, but across different geographies and regions, consulting or at least top level strategy consulting would be in the 90th percentile of pay. But the fourth strategy, in my view, I think is the most compelling. It's the promise of accelerated career trajectory. So these firms, particularly the MBBs, that's McKinsey, BCG, and Bain, foster an environment that is both challenging and supportive, right? So they are very effective at creating an environment that will push you to your limits, but will also provide mentorship and guidance from experienced colleagues. If you are somebody who can excel in this setting, you could make the leap from analyst or consultant to partner in just a few years, right? So, what do these four strategies that I've listed mean for you, right? For you as an aspiring consultant who wants to get into top consulting firms? It means that competition is intense. Strategy consulting firms can afford to be highly selective because these talent acquisition strategies that I just listed generate a deluge of applications for them every year. Typically, again, depends on the office, but typically it would be less than 0.5% of the applicants would secure an offer from MBB, right, or a top level strategy consulting firm. So let's say 1,000 applicants apply, less than five of them would get a offer from a top level strategy consulting firm. So that's very selective, right? Now let's look at the selection process at consulting firms. There are two distinct phases that you'll need to clear in order to get an offer. The first is getting the interview, getting the foot in the door, right? And the second is acing the interview or clearing the interview. Now, in the first phase, you will submit a resume and also cover letter, and you would also need to engage in networking, primarily in the office that you're recruiting to or in the practice area that you're recruiting into. Through your resume, cover letter, and your application in general, you will need to show evidence of high intellectual ability, high achievement orientation, and strong communication skills, because these are the skills that would help you excel in a consulting career, right? So firms are looking for evidence of these skills either through your education or through your work experience. So when your application is being reviewed, it will be scrutinized heavily, right? They would look at which school did you go to, what were your GPAs, did you participate in certain extracurricular activities that helped hone your leadership competencies. If you're an experienced candidate, they will look at the kind of challenging or analytical work that you might have done in your work experience, right? And the leadership roles that you would have had in your work experience. Now, some firms also require an online assessment as part of your application. These can range from your typical analytical questions to business math related questions to online games. Right. If you successfully navigate the first phase, congratulations, you've secured an interview. Now comes the second phase, which is even more challenging, right? Because in the second phase, you can expect two rounds of interviews, each involving conversations with 2 to 3 interviewers typically. And there are two primary interview types that firms employ, right? So first, there's the case interview. Here, your interviewer presents you with a complex business scenario, and you're assessed on your ability to navigate it effectively. Right? So essentially, they are assessing your problem solving and client readiness skills. The questions that they're asking um, when they are assessing your candidature is, will this candidate be able to do the job? Can this candidate be placed in front of a client? Right? Then there is the fit interview, right? This is where your interviewer assesses how well your values and personality align with the firm's culture, right? So they want to know not just if you can, do the job, if you can be put in front of a client, but they are also trying to assess if you will thrive in their unique culture or unique environment. Now, navigating the selection process is not easy, but if you can make it, the rewards are substantial, not just financially, but in terms of the skills you will develop, the impact that you'll have, and the doors that it will open for you. So let's recap what we have learned in this particular module. Right? We started with understanding the talent acquisition strategies at top consulting firms, and we learned that talent is a true asset consulting firms have, and they will go to extraordinary lengths to attract the best. Some of the strategies that they deploy include senior partner engagement, substantial investments in recruiting, lucrative compensation packages, and the promise of rapid career growth. Second, we went into the selection process at MBBs. And we understood that the selection process is rigorous. And there are two steps. One is securing the interview, and the second is passing the interview in order to secure the offer. Right? In order to ace the interviews, you will need to ace case as well as fit interviews. Right? And these interviews tend to put your problem solving skills, your client readiness skills, and your leadership skills to the test. Thank you for listening. In the next module, we will be talking about what a case interview is, because in this course, we will focus mainly on the case interview. Thank you.